All right. Well, like you guys have already seen, it's out. JMO in the suspension. It's done. It's going to happen. He decided to hold back his appeal. And I want to clear up some of the things that I've already heard. There's been some great information already passed along by some of the YouTube content creators, but there's also some things that have been missed. And you know, I've got a keen eye for this stuff, so I wanted to share what I learned from all of this. And as you heard from the morning show this morning, Chef and Eric did a good job at going over the policy that I sent to them last night. I highlighted a few things that could have happened, and I'm going to start there. So if JMO would have appealed, win or lose, the way that I understand the rule is when you put in play a want to appeal from the NFL's decision. One, you have to be notified, right? So JMO was notified on or about Monday is what we had thought, right? Story broke, late that evening. And that's what we had thought was going down. And from there, there's 5 days. So 5 days have to pass by. You either appeal or you don't. If you don't, then your punishment, whatever it's going to be, whatever the NFL decides, that's what it is. And that's what, you're going to be dealt with. Well, Jameson Williams, like I said, he had that time to think about doing an appeal. What would that have meant? And what I gathered out of this 46-page policy, and it broke everything down. I mean, everything from arbitration to, when these people are elected to, be part of this arbiter board and so on and so forth. And the timeline from when you file an appeal to when the appeal happens. And that's what I wanted to point out. So win or lose, if the Lions wanted a competitive edge in this and they felt that, yep, we'd rather have JMO for these divisional opponent games, then he should have appealed, because his appeal would have been in 4 Tuesdays after his appeal was entered. So if his appeal was entered today, it goes back retroactive to the date that he was notified. So this Tuesday would have been week number 1. It would have gone out 4 weeks from now. And or 3 weeks. So had he had lost, he would have missed the Colts game and the Jaguars game. He would have been able to play in all of the divisional games. So if you're looking for a competitive advantage and you're looking for a way to keep your, one of your star players around for these games, that's what you do. Apparently, the Lions didn't want to do that, and they felt that, by him not appealing and just doing what he needs to do to get this done and over with was the better choice here. But clearly what we learned from all of this is that he did have an appeal ready to go. So where he said that he wasn't going to appeal this, he absolutely had an appeal ready to go. Now, I'm going to read you what Detroit News has put out, and this is what they said. The status of Detroit Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams is in limbo after it was reported. I'm sorry, this is the wrong one. This is yesterday. My bad. Hold on. I'll read Pride of Detroit and what they said this afternoon. So according to a report by Jordan Schultz, the Detroit Lions wide receiver Jameson Williams will not appeal his pending suspension and will miss the next 2 games. That means Detroit will play the Tennessee Titans and the Green Bay Packers without the services of Williams. The NFL has now officially announced the suspension as well. The details of the suspension are not publicly known yet, other than it was for a violation of the league's performance-enhancing substances policy. Williams offered a statement on the suspension via his agent, and in it, he claims he still does not fully understand how he violated the league's rules. Then why aren't you appealing this, JMO? If you don't know why you're being suspended, you appeal. 1,000%. You appeal. If you honestly think that we're either A, that's stupid to believe that you don't know, number one, or number two, that's like my kid coming up to me, and getting in trouble in school and saying, I didn't know I punched him in the face. Did your hand leave your body? Did it contact the other kid's face? Well, yeah. Then what do you mean you don't know? Did you just forget that it happened? Well, no. Then what do you mean you didn't know? That's how stupid that sounds to me. That sounds like a child making that statement. I don't know if I believe in this statement even came from JMO. More likely his agent had a heavy hand in it. Anyway, the statement goes on to say this. This week I was notified by the NFL that I have been suspended for a violation of the performance enhancing substances policy. The news came as a complete surprise that I'm still trying to understand. I don't take supplements or vitamins. I am overly cautious about even taking over-the-counter medicine. At no time have I ever taken something in an attempt to cheat or look for an unfair advantage. I understand that I am responsible for everything that goes into my body, and I have to take responsibility in that instance. I have nothing but love and respect for this game, my teammates, coaches, the Lions organization, and the city of Detroit. It is disappointing to accept this suspension, and it will hurt me to be away from my team as they prepare this week. So out of respect to my teammates, this will be the last time I address this matter. Number one, if this came from JMO, there's some really good points in here. Last time he's going to talk about it, people, so don't even ask him. Don't waste your breath. I'm sure you will. He wants to bury it and be done with it. That's a good move. Nice try, JMO. It's not going to happen. You're going to get pegged with all sorts of questions. I guarantee it. But here's what I don't understand. He says that he claims that he does not fully understand how he violated the league's policy. And that bothers me. And it bothers me for a couple of reasons. Whether he just, if he truly said it that way, then okay, maybe different words could have been used, because you have to know what you're getting suspended for to accept it. This is the big leagues now. Your general manager, your coach, organizational people, behind it all. I mean, the team lawyers, your lawyer, your agent. I mean, they're all telling you what's going on here. The NFL, their personnel, they're all telling you what's going on here. At some point, you have to know what's going on. And if you don't know, you better ask a question. And if you still didn't get the answer you need, you better go ask 3-4 more questions until you get the answer you deserve. Otherwise, you always appeal. Because win or lose, the punishment is the same. Always appeal. The difference is it gets drug out and, through the mud and probably a little bit more out in the open. There's going to be more things that shady investigative journalists can get their hands on. And more things for leaks or more opportunity for leaks. But here's what everybody missed. And this is where I have a big problem with what's going on right now. And I also learned something myself. This last weekend, I put out a little video of who was out prior to the game. And I was on USA Today and totally gave me a bogus report. They put out a bogus report. And thankfully, I took screenshots of it, just like I did today. I took screenshots of what came out on Twitter. Here you go. Here we go. Ian Rappaport, with his statement, wide receiver Jameson Williams is dropping his appeal. Number one, dropping his appeal. So he had an appeal ready where he was already furnished it to the NFL, and he dropped it, paving the way for him to be out this week and next week. Now, here's the statement that just floored me. Williams had been facing a PED suspension the last several weeks. One, he confirmed to Eric Woodyard. Let me repeat that. Williams had been facing a PED suspension the last several weeks. One, he had confirmed to Eric Woodyard. Now, one other creator has mentioned this. Now, one other news source has mentioned this. Nobody has mentioned this. I caught it. I pay attention to the details, and now I've got more questions. Because as I've been going through and updating this, which I've done once, and then again, the show this morning had, the guys that did another update for us. The whole time going through the rules and the policy, if you've been warned one time for PEDs, that's what you get, is one warning. Then you have to get involved in some sort of a program, right? And then you're allowed to play. If it happens off season versus in season, you have to enter a program. But number two, if you drop dirty a second time, There is no more warnings. You are now going to get an automatic 2-game suspension. So that's my first question. Is this not the first time? The fact that Schefter says, or Rappaport says, several weeks tells me that he probably dropped dirty a few weeks ago. And oh, by the way, no one else reported this either. Jamo's just not back after 2 weeks. He has to drop clean to be able to come back. If whatever is in his system is not out of his system, he doesn't play. So there's the whole nother, hornet's nest to this, that if whatever he's on stays in his body for an extended period of time, he may not play in that third game that he's going to be out, or after the second suspended game. You know what I'm saying? Words are hard to find some days. And so that brings me to another question. This is me going down the rabbit hole. Okay. You can visualize me going down the rabbit hole, ass and toes to the ceiling here. So had he been known about this now for a few weeks, and now the NFL comes forward with it and says, hey, it's been 3-4 weeks now since the beginning of the season, whenever it happened, whenever the initial drug test probably would have happened in this case, it should probably be pretty close to getting out of your system. So we'll give you the 2-game suspension. Now in 2 games, you should be able to drop clean. I do know this, like testosterone, anabolic steroids, stuff like that. I've had to take testosterone in the past. I've had to take all sorts of hormone crap because of the cancer and everything that they fed me, all these different medications. I've had to learn a lot. And those things can last into your system for 30 days. The levels of testosterone in your system can vary big time in a week, depending on what your normal levels are. For a man of his age, his levels are at normal are probably between 400 and 1,000 NGs per ml. So he's probably somewhere between 400 and 1,000, right? And since he's an athlete, it's probably closer to 1,000, which is still pretty high. Maybe 800 is kind of the tippy top of the scale there. So if he's up into the thousands, yeah, it could take a little bit for it to kind of come down, right? And that's where he's going to have to stay within the normal realms. And I'm not saying this is steroids. That's not what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's testosterone. I'm just throwing out an analogy here that it could be. And if he does not drop clean in 2 weeks, he will not play. Your blood still has to come back, or your urine still has to come back clean. Now flip that on the other side, right? We've heard all these other rumors that we have not ever substantiated. We've made sure to call them rumors. JMO changed his prescription from a different generic to a brand name, or vice versa. But JMO was on a prescription and the paperwork didn't get turned in. We found the policy where it states that the doctor prescribing the medication is responsible for applying for the TUE. Number one. And number two, they're responsible for making sure that the paperwork gets into the NFL. Some login process that they have, whatever. Also, we heard a rumor that the the Lions organization was upset at JMO for going outside of the organizational doctors and being treated for things and not keeping it in-house, which caused a paperwork issue. So we've heard all of these rumors. If this was just over prescription medication, I cannot imagine that the NFL is going to suspend this man because of a paperwork issue. I get it. They're all adults. They all have to lay in the bed that they make. But if this is a paperwork issue, and if JMO's the one that's not personally responsible for that, it's the doctor, then I think there's a bigger issue here. If they can go and verify, yup, he was on the medication, here's the paperwork, here's the coordinating notes, and everything that doctor has to turn in, the NFL and its doctors also have to substantiate based on what I read from the 46-page policy. They have to be able to find conclusive evidence that Jameson Williams is being treated for something, right? They have to be able to substantiate it and kind of, re-diagnose him, if you will. Again, allegedly, reportedly, that he's on some medication. No clue. Unsubstantiated rumors. At the end of the day, here's what I will say. I don't like this. It doesn't make any damn sense. One, if JMO doesn't know what he's suspended for, why is he being suspended? Two, the kid just seems to attract shit for whatever reason. It's like the NFL is just on him. And it's kind of like the kid that always got in trouble in school, right? I mean, he's just always in trouble. If something happened that day and that kid probably wasn't even at school that day, he's getting blamed for it. Someone let the turtles out of the cage in science class. Oh, Johnny did it. Well, Johnny hasn't been at school all week. Yeah, he probably came in to do it. Johnny did it. I mean, that's what it seems like to me. And yes, that did happen in science class. Let all the turtles out. I did it. So anyway, I don't like it. I think that there's some other issues here, and maybe we'll find out here in the coming days. I apologize for such a long video. I just got back from a doctor appointment and couldn't get on here soon enough to talk about it because I just have questions. And look, I wish JMO nothing but the best. And I lied. I wasn't going to finish with that. Here's what I'm going to finish with. Like I said, he's attracting all of this attention. And my question is, when does the candle finally burn out with the Lions organization, that they finally feel that maybe this is just too much? Wonderful kid, has all the talent in the world, kind of giving me that Charles Rogers vibe a little bit. Could be a superstar, may not make it, because something's always getting in front of him here. And I would hate to see that happen for him, because he's got so much ability. It's undeniable what he can be in this league and what he's already shown us he can be. So at what point do the Lions finally just say, yeah, probably not going to continue this road. We really need our guys to show up, when it's game time. And this doesn't help. Number two, what are the Lions thinking now about picking up his contract after next year? He has zero guaranteed money. They could walk away from him at any point in time. He probably would be a good trade candidate at this point. He's definitely shown his ability. You could probably milk somebody for a second round pick, maybe, definitely a third, maybe a second, definitely not a first. So there's that option. Do we need a defensive end over a wide receiver? Receivers are plentiful in every draft. So there's a lot of questions. At what point does he kind of burn out his welcome? Has it gotten that far yet? I don't think so. I think that Dan Campbell is pretty honest and open about how he feels about Jameson Williams. I love that quote that he had the other day about, dropping a rope down for the kid to climb up from, and it's attached to them. And look, that's the way that the Lions organization wants to take care of their players. They just want to surround them in love, and teach them the right way, teach them how to be good humans, good football players, and good in the community, which I think JMO has all of those potentials. I really do. Keep kicking ass, JMO, man. Just, if you don't know something, please go ask a question, though. Please. And maybe it's just a vanilla statement just to kind of bury this thing and walk away. I'm sure it is. You've got some pretty important and powerful people around you that can help guide you. Utilize them, right? Utilize them for all that they're worth. And, man, just keep plugging away, dude. We'll see you on the next one. Go Lions, go in pride. Peace out.